Alright, welcome to another video with a guy and his projects. Today we are doing a basic oil change, 2006 Nissan Frontier. If you've never done an oil change, or if you have a question on an oil change, especially if it's specific to this vehicle, today we're going to do a full-blown oil and filter change. That's all we're doing, but it's going to be in detail. If you've never done an oil change before, I feel like after watching this video, you should be well equipped to do your own vehicle with confidence. It's not a hard thing to do. It's not hard to do it correctly. I'm going to show you how to do it correctly and how easy it is to do. So, with that being said, let's do an oil change. Alright, so we have this truck all nice and warmed up, ready to go. That just gets all the sediment that might have been in the system caught up in the oil so that when you drain it, it will come out. We're going to come in here, we're going to look at our mileage so we can write it down and update Carfax later with the service interval. Right now we are at 228,812 miles. So, write that down so you can update Carfax. First thing you're going to do, make sure you turn your truck off. Put the keys somewhere safe for later so nobody else starts it up on you. Then you're going to make sure you pull the e-brake. Always do that if you're getting under a vehicle. And then you're going to come down here, find the hood release right there. Even a little diagram. Ooh, not that you can see it, but pull the hood release and you can come up front, pull the hood up just a little bit to give you room. Underneath you're going to find a lever right above your Nissan emblem. You're just going to put your finger probably, yeah, there you go, finger next to the emblem or the lever, push it over to the left and pick up the hood. I have these off-road Gorilla hood struts. If you don't have hood struts, you're gonna have to use your hood prop. You know, just pop it up and there you go. Okay, so under your hood, you have your oil fill cap, which is also your crankcase filler cap, whatever you want to call it. Either way, that's right there. And you have your dipstick right here, this yellow thing. It's super awkward if you've ever pulled that off. It's easy to pull it off, hard to put back on until you develop a specific rhythm. So there's that. We are going to go ahead and dust off our cap before we pull it off, and then we'll pull that off. So just clean that up so no dust falls in. Put your rag right here for later. And go ahead and pull that cap off. Once that is off, you can go down below. Okay, so for this change, you're going to need a few things. This is a preference, just a couple of latex gloves. Keeps you clean. You're going to need an oil recycle bin, whether you use your container from the last oil change or put it in one of these. I do a lot of freaking fluids on my vehicles. I have 4 different vehicles to maintain fluids on, so I just use one of these. You are going to need a couple of funnels, really just one. Pick one, doesn't really matter, personal preference, who cares. I have a Stahlbus oil drain valve, so I will need this. If you don't have a drain valve and your truck is stock, you're going to have a bolt, so you're going to need a wrench or ratchet. You're going to need your catch pan, some paper towels. The blue ones are my favorite. You're going to need your oil filter. We are using the M1 110A for our truck. And you're going to need 5 3/8 quarts of oil. Typically, I am a Pennzoil full synthetic guy, platinum. This is my go-to preference. However, the store I was at didn't have any. This is just something I had sitting on the shelf, so we're going to use this for the 3/8. And we are going to use this Rotella 5W30 for our main deal. This truck takes 5 3/8 quarts of oil with the oil filter change. This is 5 quarts. There's 3/8 of a quart in there. We're going to be golden. We are now under the truck. This is your oil pan. Right here I have the Stahlbus oil drain valve. All you're going to have is a drain plug. I don't remember what size head it is. It's been a while. For me, all I got to do is plug this in and the hose will drain all the oil. Wait for it to finish draining. You can see the tube is pretty clear now, which means obviously I skipped some footage, but it's been a little bit. So at this point you will just screw your bolt back in with a new crush washer. Me, because of the valve, I'm just going to put the cap back on and I am done. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Over here through this little access hole in the skid plate is your oil filter. That hole is too small, sharp, and annoying for my hands and wrists, so I just take the skid plate off. Those back 2 screws just loosen. The front 2 go ahead and remove. I am missing some plastic up on the front, so yours will look just a little bit different. If I remember right, you can still do it just the same though, you just have more in the way. That is your oil filter right up in there. Get your little drain pan and some towels ready. When I installed this last time, I must have eaten my Wheaties, or I forgot to eat my Wheaties on this morning because I could not get that off with my hands. Never fear, that is what this little tool here is for. You just stick it on your 3/8 ratchet. It fits the filter. There's several different sizes you can buy. You get the size that fits the filters for your car. There are also universal sized, but this one works just fine for me. So you are going to go ahead and unscrew the filter a little bit. Don't go crazy because it's going to pour out oil, and this little tiny raceway for the oil is super small and movable. So just unscrew it a little bit, let the majority of the oil go ahead and drip out. You can do this for the most part without making a big mess. Just take your time. Now if you're like me and you unscrew it and then you drop it like right here, and you still make a mess, but it's not overly bad. People online will tell you way worse stories, but it's not bad if you take your time. So you're going to grab your new filter, take your old filter, make sure it still has the gasket attached. If not, it's probably still up here on the housing. Just go up there, grab it, and pull it off. Put some oil on your new gasket with the new filter, and screw her back on. You can put some oil in here if you want before you screw it on. If it was a vertical mount, I would. Being horizontal, I don't, because it just makes more of a mess than it's worth to me. But that's just my opinion. Go ahead and clean up your little mess right here before you put the skid plate back on. Skid plate goes back on, slide it over the 2 back bolts, and just put your 2 front bolts back on. You may have noticed I don't have the access cover for the oil filter anymore. I took it off at one point, it disappeared, and I never found it again. But it's really not very helpful anyway. This whole skid plate's not very helpful. It's a very super thin sheet metal. Some people have even called it plastic. I don't think it's plastic, way too sharp for that, but whatever. Regardless, take your new oil and you're just going to fill it in the crankcase filler with whatever funnel you have that happened to work. Typically I'm not a Shell Rotella guy. This is the first time I've used it, but I am giving it a try. At the time of this video, I am doing a voiceover. I have run this probably another 800 miles and it has done just fine. Still, my preference is Pennzoil. No, I'm not sponsored. It's just what I've come to like. If you do the exact 5 3/8 with the filter change that the manual calls for, then you should be golden to just dump it in and clean up your mess. Obviously put your filler cap back on, and now we will go start the engine up. Alright, so after you start it up, take a look, make sure there's nothing dripping from the filter or the drain plug. Take yourself for a little 10-minute drive, come back, let it set for 10, maybe 15 minutes, and check the oil level on the dipstick just to make sure. Now, if you did the factory settings, you should be golden, unless there was a clog or something that did not let all the oil drain out previously. To check your oil properly, pull the dipstick, wipe it, stick the dipstick back in, pull it back out, and now you actually check for level. As long as you are in between the lines, you're good. I'm almost always right at the full mark with the proper oil change. Stick it back in, give it a quarter turn to the right, usually helps when you stick this stupid dipstick in. It's really awkward. That's it. That's how you change your oil on a 2005 and up Nissan Frontier. They're all pretty much the same. They haven't really changed much. If you liked what you saw, make sure you hit that subscribe button down there in the corner, whichever corner, some corner, or on the channel link down below. Make sure you leave a thumbs up and a positive comment. Try to respond to every comment that's worth responding to. Yeah, I got more videos coming. I've got a few other videos on this truck that I've taken. Feel free to check out my videos. You'll see those in there. Check those out. I've got more to come still. So, yeah, stick around. I'll keep posting. Till next time, adios.